In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes is a quote often attributed to Andy Warhol. Regardless of whether or not he said it, the notion of 15 minutes of fame is widely known and sought after by many, perhaps more so now than ever in the world of social media and internet stardom. So with that in mind, let's get to crunching the numbers of everyday life with calculated factoids. One of my favorite comedians, Daniel Tosh, who has definitely had his 15 minutes of fame on Comedy Central with Tosh.0, which is primarily known for making fun of awful videos posted online. But aside from that show, he has a great bit in one of his stand-up routines where he actually makes fun of the idea of 15 minutes of fame. As to give away the punchline, he explains how that's an average. He points to multiple people in the audience and says 0 minutes, and so on, and then points to himself and says 20 years. The joke was way funnier before I decided to dissect it, but nonetheless, it had numbers, so let's see about breaking them down. Using Tosh's notion that people either get 20 years of fame or 0 minutes, that would lead us to finding out that 10,703 people having 20 years of fame would use up 7.5 billion people's worth of 15 minutes. While 10,000 famous people may sound like quite a bit, it's really not a lot when you consider there's over 200,000 verified accounts on Instagram, which means those people probably all got their 15 minutes or more. So, crunching the numbers again, where only 1,000 people have 20 years of fame, that would allow the additional 199,000 verified Instagram accounts to all have roughly 1 year's worth of fame. That would again leave 0 minutes for the remaining 99.9974% of the world's population. And that sounds about right because you probably need closer to 1 year's worth of fame versus only 15 minutes to be verified on Instagram. Stopping right here pretty much proves Tosh's joke to be true, that you're either famous for quite a while or for no time at all. So in this very moment, unless you've already had your 15 minutes of fame, it's not looking likely that it's ever going to happen for you. And that's because your allotment has already been used up by somebody else staying in the limelight for longer than 15 minutes. But stopping here seems way too depressing, and this video doesn't have nearly enough math in it yet. So, if you're still watching, first, a huge thank you for sticking around, and second, I'd like to provide you with a little bit happier of an ending to this story. Trying to keep things a bit realistic, here's the best I could do for those who have their eye on a moment of fame. Sticking with 1,000 people having 20 years, if we lower the 1-year group from 199,000 to 190,000, that frees up over 140 million people to have their 15 minutes. Thus, that gives you about a 1.9% chance of having 15 minutes of fame. That's a lot of people and fairly decent odds. But given that a life of 70 years is made up of 2,628,000 sets of 15 minutes, even if you are lucky enough to be one of those 140 million people to have 15 minutes of fame, that would represent only 0.00038% of your life. And while this channel is not typically one for giving out life advice, the math shows that you may want to focus more time on how to better spend the other 99.9999% of your life rather than worrying about any particular 15-minute span. Wait, did I just undo the happy ending by going too far with the calculations? Maybe, maybe not. After all, I am saying all of this on a video on YouTube hoping to get my time to shine one day. Just like how we all know the odds are against us on things like winning the lottery or hitting the jackpot at casinos, many of us still give it a try. So, I guess, don't give up on your dreams? In any case, I hope you found this breakdown interesting. And if you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to give it a like, check out my other calculated factoids, and consider subscribing to stay up to date with all my postings. Thanks for watching.